Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. Today, we're going to talk with one of the fastest growing podcasters in the Midwest. Not just any podcaster, but really an entertainment podcast specialist. I mean, if you follow this lady on social media, you'd be like, damn, who is it that she doesn't know? She's at Belle Biv DeVoe. She's at Stephanie Mills. I mean, you name it. She is definitely going to be on the scene. I'd like to welcome to the show the one, the only, the host herself, Candy Fields from Candy Talk. Welcome to the show, Candy.
Welcome so much. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Man, you're like all over social media. You was at Belle Biv DeVoe the other night. Before we even get to all this stuff, who is Candy Fields?
Who am I? I am a person that loves to give back to my community.
Okay.
And, but specifically for the Candy Talk Show,
Yeah.
I provide a platform for others to be able to branch out their brands.
Wow. Is this just music? Is it what when you? I know you do a lot of entertainment. So, what part of entertainment are you really trying to focus on for individuals?
So, can I go back to the backstory?
Yeah, go right back.
Okay, sure. So, the Candy Show actually started out being the Candy Internet Talk Show.
Okay.
A gentleman back in 2008 had his own podcast platform at the time when it was just now starting to get going. And he invited us, along with a couple of different partners I had previously, to be a guest on his show. Mm-hmm. And he said, you know what, you guys did a great job. You want to do your own show? I was like, okay, sure. Mm-hmm. So from May of 2008 to 2010, well, actually 2008 to 2009 is where we did the podcast. Mm-hmm. So that was more so of, again, providing the platform. We were doing the talk pieces where we were talking about different topics and things like that. And then we started branching out to where we would go locally and we would interview people on the spot when there were entertainment platforms or right. like a showcase or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, but being the fact that I started in the entertainment, it was always something I wanted to do. The talent shows myself, I was a participating in talent shows. That was something that I wanted to do when I made sure that anything that I did, because I'm also the event planner coordinator. Mm-hmm. So anytime when we had our events, then I would make sure that I would put on someone locally. So just, you know, so they can get their product or their brand, whether it be an author, a singer, or anyone who wanted to come out, because at the time we didn't have that. Mm-hmm. So that just remains with me. So anytime we did a Candy Show episode, it was specific to like maybe a topic of music, or again, every time we would go out and about, we would always showcase local talent.
You mentioned 2008. That had to be a magical moment in your life because this is the second time that you stressed the number 2008. There were some changes because everybody didn't see your vision during this time of evolution in your life. Explain that a little bit.
You are absolutely right. It was actually very hard.
Really?
Because, again, there were no videos. It was strictly audio. Mm-hmm. And I can attest to the fact that that particular platform was one of the first platforms to do that. I'd already had several businesses on his platform, so we were basically being hosted off of his platform. Mm-hmm. So it was a struggle to get people to listen and log on and things like that. But at the same time, I enjoyed it. Yes. So we were juggling between 2008 to 2010 as being event planners also. Mm-hmm. The piece of the platform when it came down to the podcast piece of it, it ended abruptly in 2009 because of the gentleman whose platform we were hosting it on. He became ill. He just started learning to actually teaching us how to do the audio, how to do the editing and things like that.
Isn't it funny that just that one little hiccup, an unexpected illness, changed the whole trajectory? And just think, if you guys didn't have the tools or he wasn't willing to give you the tools to learn how to navigate, your whole program and your whole idea might have been almost worthless, so to speak.
Well, you were actually right because we wanted to keep going, but
Right.
obviously that was not in in our power. So with that being said, we just continue to keep the event planning piece of it going. And I tried to get back into it like around 2014. And my previous partners didn't see the vision and they wanted to do some other things. And so
How did that make you feel? Because first you were a team, and all of a sudden your vision seemed to amplify a little bit higher than your partners. What were some of the reasons that they decided to just walk away from it? Because to me, if we're in the car this long and we're doing something, I may be a little hesitant to walk away because I got something invested in it.
I think for me, I was the one that was heading the entertainment side of it. So that was the beauty about what we had at that time. Each one of us, which again, it was a total of three of us, each one of us brought something different to the table, a different perspective. So I was always in the entertainment side, even though one of my other partners, we also share the coming up because the other partner was my cousin. So we also shared the love for the entertainment. But her perspective was a lot of administration and a lot of a different perspective because she was about women, building women and women empowerment, things like that. So once we dissolved the business in 2010, everyone went on a different path. Life happens,
Right.
so once certain things in our lives were able to be turned around and be able to have more eye back on that, I wanted to do it. And my cousin didn't. But she actually is doing it. She's just doing it from a different perspective from what she feels more interested in and driven on, her message.
We've seen what I call a rebranding in the way we think during COVID. Something that hasn't been seen in quite some time, where people basically had to sit with themselves, sit with their significant others, reevaluate what's more important, a job title, family, friends, and money, and ideas. What happened to you during this pandemic and the shutdown? You wasn't prepared for all this.
I was not. Okay. So the interesting thing about that is that, like I said, my journey back into this whole Candy talk show platform, I had to actually rebrand myself because, again, I'm doing it by myself with the help of others. The biggest thing that happened was in 2019 is where I'm a believer, so I have to say this. God continued to bless me in being able to still do what I love to do, at the same time still continue to connect with the community and, again, get others' story out there. But when the pandemic happened and I was completely mobile at the time, still mobile now, but I honestly didn't know what to do because I was just getting it started. People were just getting eyes on me. And then all of a sudden the pandemic happens. And it's like I felt uncomfortable and not exactly sure.
When you say uncomfortable, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Were there ever any moments of, and I asked a few people this, which really surprised me. There was really a lot of people that went down the road of suicide. Depression and suicide thoughts came rampant. And I thought it was more with people that had high power jobs versus people that just had a different level of employment. Does that make any sense? How did you deal with that?
Well,
Did you ever get depressed?
Well, of course. Of course. When you're being shut down and you're told that you might not be able to see family members or friends anymore, yes, very much so. And I'm just touch on this because of a parent of mine who already had pre-existing conditions. It was definitely sucky. I had to maneuver a way to still see them. But my job wise, fortunately, I was able to still keep my job, but it was just a matter of anybody who was dealing with it didn't know how to deal with it, and but was able to get through it. I think for me, more so being able to just get out, exercise, and understand this was out of our control.
Mm-hmm.
I was thankful that I still continued to have employment. And to be honest, the biggest thing for me, positive wise, that came out of that was that it allowed me to be in tune with myself, focus more on me, focus on more on being a better me, health wise, and just mentally. And just understanding there were a lot of things that weren't important anymore. So that is something that I'm still actually dealing with.
What were some of the things that wasn't important anymore that you thought were important to you in your career and your involvement?
Oh, anything outside of family,
Okay.
anything outside of me. And honestly, I still kept that going. My candy show is what I love to do because I have to understand my original reason. So as long as I'm still providing that platform for people, that's what keeps me going. Because there's plenty of times when I want to say I don't want to do this anymore.
What are those times?
Oh, it's been plenty of times. Well, again, in the very beginning when we were talking about the pandemic,
Yeah.
it was hard for me to pivot because I didn't know and understand exactly how was I going to continue because I was used to doing things in person and just now scratching the surface of being able to get the eyes on the platform. Mm-hmm. But now we're pivoting to doing things virtually. And I noticed, I was like, you know what? Well, everybody else is doing it. Why don't I try to? Because there was honestly no other way anybody else could do it. So I just, maneuvered it.
What were some of the things that you brought to the table that you didn't have? You mentioned you saw other people doing virtually. You mentioned the fact that the previous guy that you worked with got ill. What were some of the things that you had to take on to master by yourself? Because you realized that attaching yourself to other people may not have the same vision that you have. So what are some of the things that you had to take upon yourself to learn how to do to keep Candy Show and Candy Talk going?
Everything. Because previously when we were Candy Internet Talk Show, I was a different category. My partner / cousin at the time, she was the administrative person, so she built the website. She did all of that. We were partners in certain decisions, but when I say everything this time around, I mean everything. Well, again, I still had some people that were helping me on the outside, how to build a website, things like that. I had to advance my editing. Everything you see running a podcast or a platform such as that, I am doing it. Am I a master at it? No. I am still learning. And it goes back to what my motto is, the Candy Show. It's natural, raw, real, uncut, unscripted, and unexpected. Because I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. And it's been so many times where I would forget things, which were very, very important to it. It might be forgetting to press the audio, forgetting to record, things like that.
Say that again, because I've done that. I've done a whole show and be like, oh, hell, we're not even recording.
That's it. And so I had to get out of my mind that no one's perfect, nothing's perfect.
Right.
And I also started looking at build on your imperfections. Build on, oh, crap. Well, we got some bad audio, but how do you fix it? Guess what? I'm still to the day, I still can't fix it all the way like I want to fix it. But it is what it is. Everybody has mess ups. Everybody has problems, so it is what it is. If it happens, hey, we're going to just keep running with it.
What are at least three? You've been doing this for quite some time. What are three of the most memorable moments of your show that you remember that really keeps you going? Because we always have those guests that you go, wow, I never expected to have that person on my show. And then what did you take away from it? I'm going to give you three of them.
Oh, gosh. Okay, just even thinking of it right now is going to make me because I get emotional.
I like the emotions.
Oh, gosh. I get emotional because it's a bigger picture. And when I see others a smile or feeling good about themselves because someone else gave them a chance, often we look at the bigger platforms, even if it's just a local TV show. Mm-hmm. It hasn't been that case. You know, there are levels, there are people, there are things, and ultimately a lot of times we don't get to make those platforms. So, memorable. Everything that I do is memorable. I like to see, I can even give you an example. Mm-hmm. With our candy productions, because even back then we had models. So not only were we doing event planning, we were doing modeling, and we were doing podcasting all at the same time. So when I'm able to bless others, I don't look at going after a specific person. I look for what is it that particular guest gets out of it. Mm-hmm. So even if it's thank you, even if it's a self-esteem, even if it's just knowing that with the models, our models had a lot of self-esteem concerns. I get it. I understand. So we would take people who really wanted to do it, but didn't know how to do it, just wanted that experience. As a short person myself, that it was very challenging back in the day. You had to be a certain height. So when I do what I do with the candy show or any event planning, anything I do, I always go back to me. How did I feel in this moment? And what did I want to do for others? So I want to see others excel. I want to see others have a smile on their face, make them feel good about themselves. So when you talk about three things, everything's memorable for me. What's more memorable is when I'm talking to someone and then all of a sudden I get this feeling where, again, I'm a believer. So the good Lord gives me a sign that what I'm doing is right. And so that's the most memorable times for me. Because it's not about me, it's about everyone else. Mm. So when you ask me the three, I can't say there are
because
three.
Because there's so many.
There are so many.
Everybody's been on your show has touched you in some way. Hold on a minute. Jamal, we got any clinics over there? There should be. Can you hand me a clinic for, please?
Thank you. Do I get up? Sorry.
That is, I can see the passion in what you do, making a difference in individuals' lives, and you've been doing it for quite some time. But on a memorable note, let's talk about the fun part of Candy Talk Show. You're out there, you're doing it up. You're with Bip DeVoe, Poison. You with Stephanie Mills. I mean, you're with local talent. How do you make these connections like this? How do you get to be in the center of things? Because this is all part of creating the Candy Show. You got to have some type of connections. How does all this takes place?
Okay, so I want to clarify something. I've never hung around or been able to showcase Stephanie Mills. So I do want to make sure that we get that.
Okay.
I would love to. But more so probably Karen White is probably who you think.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Karen White. Okay.
Yes. I mean, again, it starts from the love of the entertainment business. Again, it starts from my platform, the Candy Show. Again, it starts from people seeing what I do and see that I'm very serious about my craft. Mm-hmm. I think too, I try not to showcase things that are unpleasing to the eyes for me. So I want my platform to be positive. I want my platform again to showcase others. So when I'm going to the concerts, even just minimum as a concert lover, an entertainment lover, I try to showcase that talent in the best light. So just people see what I do. They believe in me. They want to see me win. And I try not to overuse contacts. So I'm just a down to earth person.
What do you mean when you say overuse?
So with me knowing who I know, I don't always, hey, I see you're in town. Hey, and basically get the hookup. Let me just say that. I don't like to do that because I know how it is.
What do you mean? They don't want to really be bothered with the media?
Well, no, not specifically with the media. First of all, I develop relationships, personal relationships. So while people may see what I do as a media perspective, I'm a person. I also do a lot of, if my talent can be utilized certain places and I see my talent that can do that, then I'll just offer my help. Hey, let me go ahead and do this. Let me go ahead and do this for you. I see this. Again, coming from what I've done previously, it's just a natural habit. I'm naturally a person that just looks after others. So even if it's, hey, Andre, your shirt's not buttoned. Let me button this for you or something like that. I'm just a natural person that I look at the perspective of helping and putting, basically I decrease myself. So I guess just from all of the years establishing good relationships, and even the ones that I might have established relationships before the pandemic, then I had to rebuild, because everybody's on a different path now. But people also see that I'm just a genuine person and I'm just not out there just trying to do some crazy things.
What are your weaknesses? You mentioned a lot of the strong things that you've done. What are your weaknesses?
I'm hard on myself. I criticize myself a lot. And I don't see that as a weakness, but if someone says, no, you're good, you're doing this or whatever, I'm automatically finding what I know I could do better. That's a weakness because sometimes I don't believe in myself or the craft or a project sometimes because I'm a perfectionist. I'm a Virgo. So
what is that supposed to mean? I'm not good astrological. What does that mean? I'm an Aquarius, half Capricorn. So what is that, Virgo? Your chest swell up on that. I'm a Virgo. What does that mean?
Well, I didn't even realize it until someone pointed it out to me. That is a characteristic of a Virgo, is when you are a perfectionist.
Okay.
I don't get into all of it either. I just pay attention to myself a little bit. But I'm like, you know what? That is true. Because again, it goes back to the natural, raw, real, uncut. I had to realize nothing is perfect. So with that being a trait of a Virgo, me, I have to find ways of relinquishing that perfectness. So if I am doing something, especially with editing, you and I'm sure know that a microsecond can change a whole episode. Because your audio and your video is not matching up.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. So, I'm a perfectionist. I don't try to be like anyone else. I just try to continue to improve on me. And I could take hours of editing something. But I want it to be perfect. So, my weakness, that's my weakness of being crucial on the decisions that I make. Or if I know that it hadn't been an episode or so, or even just a video or anything, it's blurry. I'm constantly trying to figure out how to make this a better visual. So a weakness can be I criticize myself a lot, or I don't accept, what's the word? I don't accept compliments very well sometimes.
Really? I find that hard to believe.
I don't. Think about it. If a person says, you know, you're very beautiful. Oh, well, thank you. Are you sure? Well, my hair is out of place.
So
You know,
you'll
so
question the compliment as opposed to just accepting it and going on.
and I've been working on that. I've been working on that because that's self doubt. But we all have it. We all have self doubt sometimes. Or do you? You're the beast.
When you're a beast, man, you know. Let's put it like this. I try to make sure that anything that affects me, I address it and I work on it, and it keeps me at that beast mindset. You know what I mean? Before we wrap up, how much of your livelihood, your experience, we talked briefly about you being one of the generational individuals that went through the busing stages of segregation and resegregation, or whatever you want to call it, in Indiana. How much of all of that is channeled into the Candy Show, the experiences of your life?
Ooh, everything. Again, have to go back to say, with a person who has showcased their talent in front of a camera as early as 8th grade, that was always something I wanted to do. Always want. Listen, I'm gonna tell anybody else. I've always wanted to be Janet Jackson's backup dancer.
Hey, you putting it out there. She's on tour. She might call you on the stage.
So entertainment in itself has always been in me. It's always been in me. My parents would play the records, you know. So music has always been in me. From being on a platform, the only local show here in Indianapolis at the time that was showcasing local talent, 8th grade. Moving into the Indiana Black Expo, talent showcase was part of that. Branching out, being able to be a background dancer for a few local talent here, opening up for certain people, branching off into doing the modeling, all of that stuff it still sticks with me because Indianapolis has always been a place where it was really hard to break out for entertainment. You look and see, well, after a while, you look to see how, once you know that that's not happening or your vision is not actually coming true, how do you pivot? So I'm taking everything that I've learned and everything I experience, and that's what I do with others. So if I wasn't able to be Janet Jackson's backup dancer, and I see someone who's driven, who's hard, they're working hard, they're really serious about their path, I want to be able to help them. So even if it's just getting them the exposure, exposing themselves, networking, or if I know someone who can get them to a different level, then that's what I am about. It's always been that way. So you asked me that question. Everything I've done, it keeps me going.
How can the viewers reach out to you and be a part of the Candy Show?
Sure, you guys can follow me on Instagram, and that's the Candy Talk Show, at Candy Talk Show. You can also subscribe to my YouTube page. That is capital C, and the number 2 at the end is Candy Productions 2. That's Candy Productions number 2. That's YouTube channel.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come on to the show and basically tell us about your show. I'm glad that your show is taking off. You guys make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. Support one another. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Crayton Show.